Why do people argue about God and religions? Why do we have arguments over God and religions? What is that? There are people disputing God. That is an argument about God, whether he really exists. That's the argument I'm talking about. And then there are religious arguments about, oh, this group is the wrong religion and this group is the right religion. And that degenerates down to denominational argument. In a particular religion, let me take the Christian religion as a specific one. You have the churches against each other. The Catholic condemn or criticize other people. The other people criticize the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses criticize the other people, the Mormon people, And then among all of these arguments again is another argument about, oh, this other group using false power to do ba 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 blah 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 and say they are healing this that. And of course, all of these people are using scriptures to back their claims. Why all these arguments? That is the topic. The world has been having these arguments about God because he manifests differently among mankind. But he started with one man. And they call him in the Bible, they say Abraham. And his household, after arresting him, his household became the family of God to host his spirit on earth. When you travel to a faraway land where you have no relatives, you know nobody, and you enter the town, in most cases, people look for somebody they lodge with, and then they will eventually, once they desire to stay there for a very long time, if not forever, they choose to make that person's family his family. So that host person's family become the family of that stranger. This is the scenario. Abraham was arrested as a single man by God when he came down to earth in the ancient time to start his work among mankind, to start his work. So he used one person, and that person's family, the lineage he came from, became the host of him, God. This first family of God, the household, grew into a tribe. And you know what I'm talking about now. It became a tribe. He loved them and protected them against other tribes living close to them. This protection he provided was his own way of proving his superiority over the small gods he came to reveal to mankind. When God landed on earth, he began to reveal to mankind that the gods, the powers that they were dealing with, there were wars in the world, and there were things that were going on, and people were consulting mediums. The mediums became the powers that were existing, which were the gods, the small gods. It was this big God who revealed to mankind that, hey, these powers or these people you are dealing with are my children who ran away from me and are out here doing things by themselves. And these things they are doing, they are full of wrong things, which we call evil. It was this guy who was saying it. So he protected the household that was hosting him against these gods that were existing at that time. We're talking about the wars of ancient time. The God took the people to war against the other tribes, and God's people gained victory over them, and God people subdued them and overcame them. These are the wars I'm talking about. That was the protection. But the purpose was for him, the big God, to prove to his host family that he was superior than the gods that even the host family's generation, forefathers knew about, they were serving, they were worshiping. I'm talking about Abraham's fathers were worshiping idols before Abraham was arrested. These gods, these powers were the ones, this big God who came and said, serve me alone, was trying to prove his superiority over. That was why he led them to war. The wars were already existing in the world. People were fighting wars before God came. And to prove himself, when these people were trying to prevent his chosen children from going to where he wanted them to settle, he has to join the wars of the world. He did not start wars. He meant wars here, and he joined the wars. Why? The purpose was to prove his superiority. That's the point I want you to get. However, this power of superiority he showed them made them to walk around, walk among their fellow humans with pride among their neighbors. Which was why they took total possession of him. They believed in themselves that God was for them alone, not for any other people on earth. This is the beginning of chaos among God's people, who are all nations in the world. This subject, I will elaborate one of these days more when I have the time for speaking events. I will stop here today, being New Year Day, January the 1st, 2026. My name is Paul Tasler, and I am a Liberian-born U.S. citizen living here in the city of Sacramento, California, where I am bringing you this story. I will be bringing you more story. This is the theocratic ministry of the Lord Jesus. I am a slave to this call. I have no choice but to keep talking about God. And a lot of people will not understand. I don't know what my end will be like. But this is my calling. Thank you for listening. And join me another time with another story or a continuation of this same story. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.